Hello, folks. My name is Sam. I'm from Maui, Hawaii. Welcome to the Unity Podcast, where I hope to bring a sense of community in these challenging times by talking to people across the country and delivering hope. My aim is to connect people so that they do not feel alone and do not let their fears consume them, because these are challenging times. But we can't afford to focus on the negativity. We must come together. So today, I'm joined by my friend Erin and my cousin Eliza, who's in New York, and my friend Nashay.
I don't know. I can't hear anybody.
All right, here.
Here. Be quiet.
It's so silent.
Sorry, sorry.
I'm on this phone. I don't know.
Technical.
And here I'm thinking, I'm like, how did Sam convince three obviously intelligent women to get on the phone together, and then none of us talk?
Sammy's fucking up. I don't know what's happening, but it's just
No. I got it. You guys are on. You guys are on. I just had to do the intro. That's why I was silent for a second.
You said a catch. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were all in it.
So, all right. So, Eliza.
Are we in it now?
Yeah, we're in it now. So Eliza is in New York, which, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is an epicenter. Or that's what the mayor was saying.
We're a dense folk. We're a dense population of folk.
Yes. And then Erin is in Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
We've also reported some cases.
Yeah, we have like 36 at last count, I do believe.
Wow. And Nashay, where are you from?
I'm in Tennessee right now. However, yeah, hello neighbor. I was gonna say that too. Last time I checked, I think Tennessee, it was either 29 or like 36. I can't remember exactly. But they were all kind of spread out throughout different counties, mostly. I did, however, just get back from Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
I flew up there. Yeah, I flew up there on Sunday. I had doctor's appointments at University of Colorado on Monday, and then I flew back today.
That was fun. What was that?
Honestly, going to Denver scared me. The airport when I got there was so busy with people catching flights out of Denver, leaving the state. And so DIA is a huge airport. They have a little underground train that goes from one end of the airport to the other. And it was shut down on the one side because there were so many people incoming as well. So we had to hike across the airport to get to baggage claim and ground transportation. Normally it's this little train that takes you across. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter if it's international or domestic. Everyone is trying to get either out of the state or in it right now.
Right. Yeah. But I will say this morning, I was there at the airport by 4 a.m. because I saw they were doing some pretty heavy screenings when I flew into Denver, so I wanted to make sure I had enough time before my flight. Mm-hmm. And it was quiet.
Oh wow.
It took me all of 15 minutes to check in, go through security, and get to my gate. It was very quiet and mostly empty, which was surprising. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think that we're seeing these photographs from people flying internationally at big airports, and we're just like, wow. It's a lot. It's a lot to even think about being in that position.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and it was very scary when I flew into Denver. I saw two separate people. The first was a younger male. He was probably in his 30s. He was in a wheelchair, but he had a different kind of mask on, and all of his belongings were in biohazard yellow bags. And he had two escorts with him. And it was only those two people that I saw with that kind of entourage, I guess you could say, with them. So I'm assuming that means they were positive for the virus.
Yeah.
Or they were with how exactly, and it was hard to tell. I kind of guessed because their belongings were in biohazard bags. That's kind of the only thing that really stuck out in my mind. But it could have been a cancer patient, something like that. Obviously, I'm not going to go up and ask a stranger, like, hey, are you positive? You know, right?
Yeah.
Very true. People who are at risk are going to have the same precautions as someone, you know, who needs that protection. We're going to have the masks and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, here in Hawaii, we've had some cases. I think so far there's been 13 statewide, maybe. But
do they specify the island?
Well, so far we know that there is one, I believe, one case here on Maui, and there's like I think 3 on the Big Island. I could be wrong. And then 2 over in Oahu.
Only 2.
And there is another couple in Kauai that tested positive. So, you know, I just want to say that, again, as we've said in the last 2 episodes, people have to remain calm. Do not let your fear consume you, because that's just going to make things worse. And being scared actually weakens your immune system. So try your best.
Definitely.
Try your best to, you know, have faith. Whatever religion that you believe in, even if you don't believe in religion, have faith in yourself. Have faith in others. Just have faith that we are going to pull through this, because we will. It might take some time, but we will.
Yeah. That was my issue yesterday. I freaked myself out, even though I know I am aware of everything I can possibly be in. I read the news, I watch the news, I'm in tune. But it's a scary situation, and I let myself just dive into worriness, and I don't know, I freaked out, and I couldn't really sleep well, and I kept telling myself this is not helping, and that made me freak out more. I think we also have to we do need to look at the numbers, but we also have to take it with the math of what it is. We don't have enough tests to really portray it as a complete factual number. These are just the facts that we're getting from the people who are tested, and we know that the tests are very in large demand. We aren't able to test everyone. We're only getting the information from the few tests that we have. So, as scary as it is, the number right now is already so much larger than we're seeing. So don't get freaked out about that, because it's already huge. This virus has been here for at least a month, and it's continually getting spread. So we're going to see a lot, and that's the whole reason for social separation, is that we don't continue spreading it. We've already slacked, so let's all buck up, look after one another.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers, but I'm just saying, look in the right way, get your information correctly, don't freak out. There's no reason to freak out. Just think informedly and just learn as much as you can and be with your family. It's not the end of the world. It's not a death sentence. more than 80% of people who have this, who've tested positive, get out of this perfectly fine. There is a percentage who find it fatal, and that number is only going to grow with the amount of cases. So social distancing is the most we can do right now.
Yeah.
And I will say too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sam.
No. Go ahead, Michelle. You were talking.
I definitely had that panic moment too, and it's when I landed in Denver, and I saw, so many people in such a small space, and that's enough to freak me out on any other day, let alone with everything going on. But I let myself have that little panic moment. I went into the bathroom, I breathed through it, and it's gonna sound weird, but sometimes you let yourself have that little panic. You don't feel like you're suppressing your emotions. Yeah, but it makes it that much real for you, and it makes it to where you understand more what the situation is. You're more likely to take it more seriously. Exactly. And you just, and that's when, it's either going to be like a fight or flight thing. I understand that with most people. I'm definitely just like, okay, I understand that this is a problem. I need to take steps A to Z, but just slowly and rationally. So if you let yourself have that moment, and it doesn't have to be panic, it's just accepting what's going on instead of fighting it and saying, okay, this is what's going on. This is the direction that it's probably going to go. Let's just take it seriously and do what we can to help and keep each other safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you suppress that, it's only adding a ton more weight onto yourself, and you won't even know why. But all of a sudden, if you don't understand A and you don't understand B or C, that is a large amount of weight, and it's more scary to not know than to know. For sure. Exactly. How you grasp with the situation allows you to adapt, allows you to figure out how you're going to survive. And yes, it's scary, but okay, face that thing. You're an adult. You're a person. You want to survive. It doesn't take stomping over other people. It just takes a sense of calmness and collectiveness to just get yourself together. Because this is not the end of the world. This is just something that we have to adjust to.
Right. And
we'll be okay.
And surprisingly, our president has done some pretty commendable things.
Or not surprisingly.
he's I guess you could say that. But he's as far as I know, they're looking at giving Americans $1,000 every American to help during this time. And they're in session as we speak. Hopefully it passes. I think it will.
I know that every New Yorker, though, is not going to look at their 2 months, what they would be getting in income for 2 months, and look at $1,000 in the same light.
Yeah.
Those are not comparable.
Well,
and it's not an answer to our fear.
I think the smart thing would be that, like, apartment complexes that are owned by, individuals. I know there's one, I forget what his name is, but there is a landlord that just went viral for sort of challenging other landlords to lower the cost of rent for their tenants for a period of time. And I think measures like that can definitely help. I know that there are a lot of companies out there now that are waiving fees. They're letting people not pay stuff for I think 60 days. Which is a start.
I do know the governor of Colorado is actually trying to get something passed to where all rent and mortgages will be held for 30 to 60 days. And it looks like that's probably going to go through. But that's just in the state of Colorado. I'm hoping that other governors will look into that and fight for that in their state as well. I don't know if that means that they'll have to make it up later, but I do know it would mean that they don't have to pay it for, the X amount of days that it's approved for, which I think is a huge weight lifted. Yeah, exactly.
If we can just have everything put on hold for a minute, we're all going through this together. If we can just put that on hold for a second, we're not spending money, we're not doing anything crazy, we're just trying to exist in the same situation. We're all in the same situation.
Yes.
I think there should be a leeway. I don't think that giving people money in their hand is going to really, yes, it's nice, but is it going to help the economy? With the amount that
I almost feel like it would make it worse.
Yeah, it's kind of saying like, oh, I hear you, and this is what you get. It's a sort of shit situation.
Well,
it's almost like, okay, so here's money to go out and, I'm so sorry, I keep talking over you, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Time lapse, I'm sorry too.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like it sort of being an informal thing anyway.
And it sounds very socialist and Bernie, but like, come on, we're not talking about politics. We're not talking about economy at the moment. We're talking about people, different situation, different subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And I think definitely now more than ever, we need bipartisanship. No more, oh, you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, and you're a piece of shit for believing that and things like that. That's not going to help at all. We
have to look after each other.
Yeah, we have to.
Be that socialist. Right now,
we have to pull together.
Same situation.
Yeah.
And I do almost feel too that those of us who have had that panic moment and we've realized what's going on and we can have a rational head about it, I think we should be held accountable a little bit, or maybe not be expected to, but basically to make sure we help those who can't grasp it, and because there's going to be those people too that they're going to panic no matter what, whether it's mental illness or increased anxiety on top of what they normally have. Like, some people just are going to panic, unfortunately, and it is up to us, those of us who are able to look at it from a rational level, to break it down for them and turn it into something that they can grasp and into something that they can understand. Whether it's like taking very small steps to make sure they're safe and to make sure they're prepared. I just think it takes a village to. What's that?
Who is speaking right now? I forgot if it's.
Nishay. It's Nishay.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think it takes a village
for that, and I would like some help. I don't want to say my name or my situation because that person would know exactly who I'm talking about, but I guess it's not even worth hiding now. Okay.
That's okay. I mean, Jane Doe, John Doe, it doesn't matter.
But this applies to a large amount of people. I have one of my best friends is pregnant at the moment, and her due date was last week. So she is fixing to have a baby at any moment. And I spoke to her last week, and we had kind of a tense conversation because I've been checking up on her all the time just because she's so close to her due date that I need to know how she is every day. But with this happening, I want to check in on her, and she was so stressed out and obviously worried about, the worst case scenario, which if anybody thinks about the worst case scenario, that's when I panic.
Yeah.
And I was in contact with her, and I was trying to highlight the positives that we know. We know that it is higher than 80% recovery, all of this stuff, and I was repeating that to her, and she just didn't want to hear it. And
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
In her case, so in everyone's mind, worst case scenario is different to different people. So do you know what her worst case scenario was specifically? Like in her head, what was her worst case scenario?
I didn't get to speak to her about that. We just got face to face with facts, and I didn't want to worry her more or bombard her with facts. It wasn't a time to argue for me.
No, not at all.
No. So I can only imagine what she's fearing. And I'm not pregnant, and I can't imagine what that's like for her. So I didn't really want to dive into it and combat that. Yeah.
Right.
So the only reason I would ask that is so say her worst fear is catching the virus and passing it to baby. Or her worst fear is not being able to get to the hospital. And you can kind of walk backwards from that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's. I was just wondering because sometimes it can be easier to walk backwards from a fear rather than to face it head on with this can't happen, this can't happen. But again, like you said, it's almost worse to call attention and feed into that fear.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of a side thought that maybe, if telling her the facts wasn't working, and by no means like not trying to argue or anything, just saying something specific to her fear. I don't know if that would help or not. But I'm so sorry. Please continue because I am curious how she's doing.
There's not much more. We kind of I stopped doing and I stopped telling her things because I just felt like it wasn't working. We weren't really communicating. We weren't connecting, and we weren't understanding each other. So, any communication was just aggravating her. I felt like, and I didn't want to do that at all. I was trying to, if anything, help her.
Prevent that.
And on another note, I'm sorry, I'm talking forever.
No, you're totally
sorry.
good.
This is a different subject. I'm just going to talk about like the New York City atmosphere that I got since Saturday has been definitely transitional, and each day is a little bit different. But I am informed. I am aware of what I need to do to keep myself safe. I know the precautions I need to take. However, and I do have pasta, not a crazy hoarding amount, but I have enough to stay at home for another week or so. So I'm not running around crazy. But going outside in New York City, I've lived here since 1996. Family lived here before that. He was here. I think you were too young to really remember what it was like, but New York was not the little shiny jewel that we all know it as now.
No, it's not. It was dirty.
I think we're all very aware of its past grittiness, but I don't think anyone really realizes what that entails. And going outside with not a lot of people, not a lot of police, not a lot of anyone, really leaves this very echoey, strange feeling. And I got the feeling that crime is going to run rampant. And I am really most afraid of those kind of social situations with crime and with fighting over necessities, like, I don't know, toilet paper or whatever. Just having that toe-to-toe, man-on-man, like, situation.
Well, let me try and do what I can to address those concerns, because I think that is, again, that's one of the primary goals of this podcast, is to help people feel better. So I think that, you know, we need to focus on one day at a time. You know, our brains have a tendency to wander ahead and worry about the complete picture.
So true.
We have to try and bring it back and just take things one day at a time. And I would say in that scenario, honestly, I think that may not happen, because the authorities, you know, the authorities are probably on high alert right now. There are people probably monitoring the situation. So I want to tell you that personally, I feel like that's not going to happen. You know, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. I think you just have to be, again, have faith in the authorities. Have faith in people, because here's the thing. Throughout history, I mean, there's always been good and bad, but there's always, people always forget that there is good. You know, there is good. It's so easy to focus on the bad, and we can't afford to do that now. So just try and, you know, pull yourself back in.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally understand. And me, as I would like to think, an ethically positive person, I understand that there are, thank God, people out there who have conscience and who are ethical and want to treat people as people. But I also know that there are a lot of people who don't give a fuck, and there are also a lot of people who are actually horrible. So, it's just very apparent that this is going to happen, if not, it's already happening. And I think I freaked out yesterday because I just realized, like, instead of being afraid of this and dismissing it and saying, oh, this could never happen to me, like, come on, let's think about, what if it happens to you? What are you going to do? And that kind of helped me to think about it and to work through it. Not that I have the answer, but to prepare myself. I feel a bit more at ease, definitely. I'm not having a panic attack right now. And I think it's important to address those things, not run from them, but be secure, be informed, be prepared. Don't be surprised by anything. This is a serious situation. It's not something to freak out over. Freaking out, panicking does absolutely nothing. Being productive, if you're freaking out, figure out a productive way to make that stop. And thinking about it, I figured out, you know, who are my friends that live next door? Who can I go to that I know I'll be safe with? Where can I go where I feel secure? You should go through those things to feel better, because just having them with open ends is a cure for panic.
Yeah.
And
well, and I think there's a difference too. It's a difference too, and Sam, you and I have kind of talked about this, you know, for years. Facing a situation head on, like you said, like worrying about people turning against each other. To me, there's a difference between being realistic and being negative. And I think a lot of people are going to view it as being negative when you're talking about the bad scenarios of what could happen, when in reality it's just it's being more realistic as to what the possibilities are and the probability of XYZ happening. And like you said, just having a plan A, B, C, D, all the way through, because people, we're also quick to jump on like the apocalypse scenario. Like, what are you going to do if it all falls apart? And people are very quick, I have this plan. I'm like, okay, but what if that doesn't work? Oh, well, it's going to work. I'm like, okay, but what if it doesn't? And that's just me being real and knowing that plan A sometimes doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So important. And I think Sam, it's a little bit of a different viewpoint for you. You can sometimes think of it as being negative when it's just trying to be honest with yourself to what the possibility is, and having to face that. And that is scary in itself. It can be just as bad as just being negative, don't get me wrong. But I think as long as you recognize that there's a difference between feeding into the fear and just facing reality, that'll be the most positive possible outcome, I think.
Well, amen. I feel like a lot of people can't really take that fierce, interactive, facing it sort of thing, though. And as much as I want to bring them there, they're not ready. And I don't know how to help the situation. I don't know.
I just like that. Yeah.
So, Aaron, how are you feeling?
We haven't heard from you. I'm so sorry.
I've just been, letting all y'all talk and everything because I talked in the last couple of podcasts. But no, I was just going to say that,
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
No, it's fine. I talk a lot too. So I was just going to say that I'm the exact opposite. I have diagnosed severe anxiety, and what's happening with how many people are panicking and afraid and stuff, I live that every single day, all day. So, this is my worst case scenario that I think about every day, all day. So I've actually gotten to the point to where I'm calm because this is worst case for me. So it's weird because I haven't been this calm with my anxiety in years, if ever, that I can remember. And
they're kind of all run out.
Yeah, because what helps me is I watch MSNBC all the time. I keep updated with everything, and I try to think in facts because that helps me. And
does it make you feel better?
It makes me feel better because I know what exactly is happening, and because that's how I work through my anxiety anyway. And but this got to the point to where it's just like I'm exhausted because I live this all the time. So it's like it's not necessarily numb, but it's the fact that, like I said, this is my worst case. So it's like it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just here. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
Accepting the worst helps you appreciate what's happening now. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what I'm trying to do, because, like I mentioned before, within the last couple of days, I've had these tremendous waves of anxiety attacks come over me, and then it goes away, but then it comes back again.
You're not alone.
And yeah, and so that's what I'm trying to realize, like, what I can do on an individual level is what I can do. Other than that, it's up to other people that are far more, they have much more experience in various fields than I do, and they're out there doing what they can to help the rest of us. And you know, I'm trying to tell myself that, and at the same time, you know, saying what going on what you said, Eliza, earlier about thinking about sort of like contingencies. I've been doing that too. Here, I'm very fortunate that I do have some friends here that are, you know, really caring. I have friends that.
Does it help your worry?
It does.
Think about it and work it through?
It does because, well, number one, they live in the house in front, and him and his girlfriend are they're very into survivalist stuff.
I wish I was better.
But I mean, you know, and again, on this island, that we have a very, very strong sense of community. So people generally here are very nice, and they look out for one another. So if anyone,
But that doesn't help me, man.
no, but
You're in Hawaii, like fucking living the life.
there
I'm in this fucking city. I
there
don't know what we're gonna do.
there are good people there. There are good people there, you know, and my father lives there, you know, and
But people who are freaking out are different than people who like have their heads on.
Yeah.
I don't know that many people who have their heads on right. Especially now, and I don't put anything against them. This is a very scary situation.
Yeah.
However,
So, Aaron, I have a quick question for Aaron. Yeah. So, with your, I don't want to say normal anxiety because I feel like that's downplaying, like having anxiety daily. I'm not sure how to phrase that. I'm sorry. No, so day to day before all of this happened, and Sam, same question to you. What helps you calm down day to day to be functional and to be able to go on with your day? And nothing. Yeah, that's what I've been talking with my counselor and psychiatrist about for years now. Because I'm disabled, and I go to the pain clinic to see the doctor there about my back and everything. And they took me off my anxiety medication because I can't be on both pain medication and anxiety medication at the same time. And that's when everything really amped up, was because I wasn't getting any help for my anxiety. And, you know, meditations and breathing exercises, I've tried that for years, ever since I was a child. And that personally, for me, that's never worked. I mean, not saying it doesn't work for anybody, it just never worked for me. And so I've been talking to my counselor and psychiatrist about other ways to try to deal with it. And so far, nothing's really worked. So we're still talking through it and trying to figure out, you know, where to go from here.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that real quick. I want to, Sam, I want to hear your answer too.
Yeah.
Just real quick to touch base. So I also have a chronic condition, and I see a pain management doctor and stuff. That's actually why I was up in Denver, is because I have like a rare disease, and so it's hard to get a doctor here in Tennessee that knows about it.
Yeah.
So I'm still, unfortunately, kind of going back and forth to cover, you know, every test and everything. And yeah, I get that. And the medical world in itself adds a different type of anxiety to where it's almost counterproductive to see your therapist because you're brainstorming all these ideas that don't work.
Yeah. Especially when you're afraid of doctors and nurses and have quote-unquote white coat syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. If I have one more person tell me that I just need to be positive and my illness will be cured, no.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Whoops.
No,
Let me get. Looks like Eliza dropped out, so let me get her back really quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. this stuff happens. It's new. I'm trying this. It's new.
Hello?
Hey, yeah, you dropped out. I got you back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't hear anyone after a while.
Oh no! Yay, you're back! Yay!
So I was listening to Erin talk about her anxiety and how she's kind of working through it, but she was on medication. And I wanted to add, I wasn't going to initially add that I was also on anti-anxiety medication, but like, there's no shame. So
Yeah, exactly.
She had zero shame in that.
No.
Yeah. But I stopped taking it because I stopped taking it a few months before any of this happened. But I know what it entails going through not having that medication after a while of relying on it for so long is a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
not easy.
And
How are you?
I will say the scary word. I'll say the scary word. And I don't mean this in a mean manner. It's a withdrawal, but it's not a withdrawal of drug
Oh, it's
addiction
horrible.
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's
The
horrible.
withdrawal. Yeah, the best way I can describe it, like for me, pain-wise, yeah, like I'm not afraid of not having that medication. I'm afraid of what my body will do if I don't have it. Does that
Same
make
here.
sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, and so that's one stigma to try to rise against in itself. But yeah, how are you? Anyone? How are you guys doing after going through that big dramatic change? You know, what propels you to keep pushing through the day? When you know it's just going to be hard no matter what.
Me personally, it's the fear that I have of death. I am terrified of getting older and terrified of dying. I, had a 1% chance to live in 2007, and that really terrified me of going through that. And it's really accelerated my fear of getting older and dying. And so pushing through was the simple fact that, I'm not going to die. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. So it's like, because my fear was, it was going to get so bad with my depression and everything that, I wouldn't want to deal with it. But, I was like, no, I'm not even going to think like that because I don't want to die. So it's just kind of like, I'm just going to say, screw it, I'm going to push through this. Kind of being rebellious, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and real quick, Sam, there is a method to this madness, I promise. The reason I'm focusing on this is because I think right now with the virus and everything going on, there are thousands of people going through this that have this normal anxiety every day, and now it's amplified.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more we talk about it and we make it, and the more we make it like mental health needs to be a normal thing to talk about.
Exactly.
So I think sharing stories is great, and that's why, the questions I'm asking is to help other people, and what gets them to push through the day,
Exactly.
So,
I mean, mental health is already stigmatized as it is.
Yeah.
But there's no shame in talking to a counselor, a psychiatrist, or therapist. There's no shame in taking medication. There's no shame in having a mental illness, because just like your heart or your lungs, or just taking care of yourself, taking a mental health day.
Yeah.
Because just like your heart or your lungs get sick, your brain can get sick. There's no shame in it, you know? And it needs to be talked
right
about.
now, it's so important to be on top of your own health, and your mental health is part of that. Being at your best capability of fighting, having a high immune system and getting enough sleep and just being the healthiest you can be. That's what we all need to do, as well as washing our hands and everything and being social. We need to keep our immune systems up and be strong.
Yep. For me, what I've been doing, I luckily I have a supply of vitamin C and vitamin D supplements. So I've been taking about 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. And I have my smoothie stuff that I make too. But on
and you don't have to ration it because we're still getting an influx of inventory. Little as people think, we don't think.
Yes.
When we go into a grocery store, we don't look at it and think that it's going to be replenished in a day, but that actually happens.
Yeah, and that is important. That is absolutely important for people to understand. They are still having shipments come in. That's not going to stop. So do not go out and panic buy everything because other people need those supplies maybe more than you do. And we were talking about...
And we support it.
Yeah.
We have supply.
Yeah. Like, there's single fathers, single mothers out there that maybe need diapers for their children, maybe supplies for their children, and they need it more than you. So just be aware, don't go out and do that. But
Also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in touch with the whole parents with the babies, please don't hoard and panic buy formula because they're out of milk.
Yes.
Yeah. The formula is for the babies who need it.
Yes.
So just because they're out of milk doesn't mean that you need to drink formula. Leave that alone for the parents who need it for the babies' needs.
Yes.
Yes.
And
don't hoard anything for the same reason. Everybody has a category of need, so you're taking things out of their mouth by taking them for yourself. That's very selfish. Stop it.
Yeah, and I have a reliable friend that works very close in the government, and the best advice he gave me, he said, do your normal shopping as you would, and to increase it by 25%. Don't double it, don't triple it. If you normally buy like, 2 things of, let's say, canned peas, don't buy 4, don't buy 6, just get like 1 extra one. You know what I mean? Don't go crazy. He said 25% is that great number, and stick to that or below it and go about your business, and that's how we're going to get through this.
Right.
Exactly.
So
I mean, we've already created a shock to the system by everyone panicking, so we're already like a week.
We're already behind
at the supply. But if we all just shape up, we're going to be okay with the next.
Yes.
Okay, it's a week back now. Let's not make it 2 weeks. Let's let those people get their needs fulfilled and stop hoarding shit.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say too is because I do have anxiety as well. Maybe not to the degree that other people do, but I do have it.
I think the majority of the
it's fair. I would say it's fairly common. Especially
now.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, don't mind the sound in the background. We are having a thunderstorm right now. But anyway.
You're loving it.
Actually, surprisingly, I actually found myself wanting the sun to come out. Believe it or not.
Oh. What have you done with Sam? Oh my God.
And the only because, well, number one, the sun is good for you. It produces vitamin D, and they have shown that sunlight does kill viruses because the ultraviolet can kill most viruses. So being out in the sun is good.
And vitamin D boosts your endorphins.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes you happy.
Yeah. But
I was going to add that in the city, or I don't know, everywhere, because of the lack of travel and the withdrawal of flights, I think the air is just generally better.
It is. It is.
We've had amazing sunsets, amazing when the sun's out. It's amazing. and I lived through living in New York City when the World Trade Center was bombed, or not bombed, but, destroyed. And there was that same, I'm not comparing the two, but there was that same halt of travel. And in both times, there were these amazing sort of eerie, beautiful horizons and sky.
Yeah, and the other thing is too. I mentioned this to my mom yesterday, but I said that in a way, it's like the Earth, which is our collective mother. She's healing herself because we had those devastating wildfires, not just in Australia but throughout California and and then the Amazon. Although that there was some political maneuvering in that, so I don't know. But then suddenly, you start to see that the fires they stopped, and now in Australia the green is coming back, and with this virus and making it people staying indoors. In China, satellites have shown that the air, the pollution is pretty much gone.
Oh,
and
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
and in Italy the air quality has gone way up too. So
It's crazy beautiful.
yeah, it's like when you think of it that way, I think it also serves to in some way relieve some of the stress, because it's like you understand that our collective mother is recovering, and
also flexing.
yeah, right. I mean, she's showing us her power, and I think she's trying to make us understand that really she's given us a lot, and we need to take this time to reflect on that, and and I think that's what a lot of people should be doing, is
And
saying,
you also can't control her, obviously. She
Yeah.
can do whatever the fuck she wants.
yes,
So
but
we need to respect that.
people should
We
be
need to change
focusing.
our-
Yeah. That people should be thinking about too when we get out of this, because we will get out of this. How can we give back to her? Because
How can we do better?
yes, because this, if anything, this should show people that we really can't control our mother. She's, like you said, she's gonna do whatever the hell she wants. So
I know also that a lot of these environmental things get easily tossed in a category of funny. Like Greta Thunberg is looked at as a joke, kind of. Okay, maybe people had that sense of humor before this, but we need to really look at Mother Nature and respect the fucking shit out of her right now. For sure.
yeah.
If anyone lives, it's because she decided you're gonna live. That's a different subject. Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention that how I've been dealing with it, because I think my anxiety really started to get worse after 2012. I was dealing with some BS at the time that I think really left me scarred. So ever since then, I had a tendency to overanalyze things, just jump ahead, assume the worst, not trust easily. But for me now, I've been, as a gamer, I have my games going, so that helps. Also, just being at home, I find it very relaxing. And I have a chance to work on various projects that I was trying to work on before, but never could because I was always busy with other stuff. And now I can actually do that. This project right here being one of them. Yeah. So that's what's been helping me.
Podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Would we have this without the virus?
Right. So it's and the other thing is too is like talking to you guys. Like that is hearing other people's voices, and
expressing our fears.
Yeah, and
talking with each other.
that's helping quite a bit. Because I feel like
Definitely.
while you're not physically here, I feel like you're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm about. So I think that anyone who's out there that is alone or feels alone for whatever reason, I encourage you to check out this podcast, definitely. And I'm going to try and do this where I go live, either on Facebook or maybe YouTube eventually too, if I can figure out how the hell that thing works. But but I just want to ask too, what are some tips suggestions that you guys have for people that may be trying to look for something to do while they're home, to get their minds off of things? What would you suggest?
Reading a book. I actually got back into reading my books that I have been just sitting on my bookshelf, and then I recently got back into playing video games again. So I mean, you got that too. That's what I've been doing. I think everybody could benefit from that. Oh, and like I mentioned yesterday too, there's several museums that are doing virtual online tours that you can take. There's college classes that are being offered for free online that you can take.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch. There's the Metropolitan Opera House that's offering free virtual operas. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you can, open your mind to and, check out. Do something you've always wanted to do or check out and haven't had the opportunity to.
Yes. With all of our technology and capability of sharing every little thing with everyone, we have all of the information already online. But there's endless possibilities. I know I was asking earlier about YouTube because that's something that I don't know very much back and forth. I know a couple channels that I find really amazing, and it's different than television. It has a different appeal, and it's not, or I don't know. I'm not suggested channels by like my everyday friends. They're not like, oh, check out this person. But going through YouTube, I found some great channels, and I asked people to suggest things. So far today, I found a new one that's pretty amazing. It's called The Feast or something, and off of it is called The Hot Ones, and those are
oh my gosh,
amazing. Like, if you like pop culture, if you like movies, if you like music, all of your favorite people are there eating fucking hot wings and shitting them and crying, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube suggestion. I have a, if you're interested in kind of creepy things or SCPs, check out the Vulcan, because he goes into talking about all the SCP universe, all the SCPs there. And that's been a really interesting channel to check out.
YouTube is like the universe. Like, there's a galaxy, and then there's all these little branch offs of different planets. It's such a different. You can endlessly explore on there. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I highly suggest it. But if you want to
for
support
everyone,
yourself
seriously.
everyday life, yeah, puzzles are cool. Hobbies are dope. If you like drawing, if you like photography, just find the beautiful in the everyday. Or search YouTube.
There's something you always wanted to learn, and now you have a little free time on your hands. Like, like start learning Spanish, or if you want to how to sew or knit. Just super things that just might be a little low on the totem pole, say, like a bucket list, but just something to say, hey, I did this cool, crazy thing one time, and now I like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's also a million tutorials on YouTube where you can learn how to edit a video or make a music, whatever music thing, and everything you want to know is on YouTube somehow.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Exercising is cooking.
I'm personally going to be cleaning. To me, it's very therapeutic, and I like, virus, no virus, your house will still have to be clean. And so I'm using this time to do that deep, spring cleaning of, moving the sofa and getting everything behind, and just, that full cleanse. And then, yeah, exactly. And just and it's so refreshing when you're done with it and you feel better. So it's, it's like, when you shave your legs and you get into a cozy bed with, fresh new sheets, it's amazing. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. Everything's going to be not just sanitized, it's going to be sparkling clean.
You just kind of lined up my night just now.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is what I never do. Simple, lovely things can be achieved in your own apartment.
Yep.
Always.
If you got card games, and you live with other people, you play card games.
That takes people.
Yep. And another, I just want to say on YouTube also, if you like urban exploration videos or things like that, check out Mo Sargi's channel, or Omar Gosh TV.
Can you link the links, because I won't remember these things?
Yeah, so when I upload this to YouTube, I'll include a link to their channels there too.
The Hot Wings.
Yeah, and the Hot Wings one. So the other thing is, what else do you guys want to talk about?
Parents. Sorry. I just have to, come out with that myth of putting your parents on fucking, they're grounded. They're fucking grounded. There's no excuse. You can't say anything to go outside. Why even fucking risk it? And I find myself just battling with these general ideas of being safe that they should know. But they're like, oh, well, I wash my hands. I make sure that people are 6 feet from me. But for me, I have a friend and also a mother who are very on the high risk category. And it doesn't matter what steps they take, honestly. I haven't said this to them because it was just, I think, crumble the everyday life and structure that they know. And that's another repercussion. I don't want to cause that, but I do want them to be safe. And one of my friends from leaving her home. Even if I don't ask her, she doesn't have like a huge social life. But she does get outside, and it doesn't matter what I say, she's not going to listen to me. And she asked me to join her in going out, or I'm doing something that she wants to join, and I can't say really. I've already said, please don't. It's not necessary that you come with me. I'll do all of the work myself.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, you don't think I can? Like, I can still do this stuff. I'm not afraid. It's not even a matter of that. And I know that she's safe. I'm just taking precautions. I do not want her to come outside, and she won't listen to me.
I still think that maybe if you know a nurse or a doctor or somebody in the healthcare field, have them talk to her and explain it in a way that maybe she will listen to them because they are a healthcare professional. Maybe try that if you can find somebody willing to talk to her. That might work.
Well, it's a little. It jumped in a concern level for me because she did have a doctor's appointment for tomorrow, and I spoke to her and she said that she was surprised that he canceled, and that like people are taking those precautions. People are telling her not to come, and she's not taking any of those leads because it's not that she doesn't hear it. She doesn't think that it's going to affect her, or she feels like she's so secure in her way of being prepared, which I agree is very rigorous and it is good. But she doesn't really give up to the chance that, she can't have control over this.
Yeah.
And I think we all know this is not a controllable situation at all.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So having her not realize that, I don't know what to do. Nothing I say changes her opinion.
Yeah.
And you're still going to have those people, and it's one of those things that you've done everything you can to warn her. It's not, I don't want to say it's not worth it, but keep that energy for another person that is gonna take it seriously, because after a while, whether it's you consciously know it or subconsciously, you're gonna start to feel defeated because it's not gonna make a difference. So still keep pushing and, be consistent with her always, but, just channel that energy to someone else that's going to respond to it in a better way.
Yeah.
Right. It's just increasing my anxiety.
I know.
And I'm sure that there's a ton of people who feel the same way. Like, I'm taking the precautions so I can do whatever I want. No, that's not the case. You have to be overly panicked. You have to be scared. You have to. I mean, we're talking about it logistically, but it's a good mindset for people to be scared.
Yeah, you gotta take this serious. Definitely.
Mindset to be in.
Yeah, the trick is to not let that consume you, though, because
exactly.
that's when you start making. That's when you start making mistakes.
But the middle ground is hard.
What was that?
Being in between panic and understanding is a difficult situation. You're balancing a lot with your own feelings, let alone everyone around you.
Yeah.
So, that wasn't a point. That was just where I am. And with my friend who thinks that she's doing everything possible, I don't want to tell her she's doing it wrong, because she's not. But she's doing things that are risky. And she's not getting that. I don't know the answer to that. It's just, I feel like something that we're all dealing with right now.
Yeah.
People my age who have loved ones who are older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like my mom. She has asthma and COPD, And so I had a conversation with her the other day, just telling her, it would make me personally feel better if she just, stayed at home, and if we needed any groceries or anything, let me go get them. And I could, and everything. And, I would prefer if she would just stay home. And luckily she agreed, because, it wasn't like, panicked or anything like that. It was just a precaution that we're taking because, this would be really bad if she was to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say if you work in a job that you have to, most places are closed now anyway, but if you are still, for some reason, still working at a restaurant or something like that, I would just say to you, consider really taking a step back right now. I know that for a lot of people, money is a concern. It's a concern for all of us. But we also have to balance that with potentially spreading the virus to other people. So, consider that.
And not to concern everyone, but, we're not invincible. We're not immune to the virus. Immune is not a word for any category. This virus does not discriminate. It hits people who are not in the risk factor, but it hits people more in that risk level. Yeah.
I learned the hard way because I was, like I was talking about earlier, in 2007 when I was given a 1% chance to live. I was, 22 years old at the time, and I know a lot of us younger people think, oh, I'm invincible. Nothing is ever going to get me. I'm not going to die. I learned the hard way going through that I'm not invincible. No one is. Anything can happen at any time. So it's, take precautions, especially when it comes to something like this virus that you can't control it. It's going to come after you. It's something that just cannot be controlled. We can't talk to it. We can't reason with it. It's just going to be there.
And on the other hand of that too, at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's just a virus or just a flu because that's different for every person, but that's what it is. And there's been several healthcare professionals that have said, with little kids, if they catch it, you may not even know that they have it because their immune systems are fighting it off. And so, while yes, there is a deep concern for those who cannot fight it off, there is another thing too. If you think you have it and you go to the hospital and you test positive, there's nothing they can do for you there that you can't do at home. And that's where this is coming into play, is because these people, the media has made it such a big deal that these people are fearing for their lives when they shouldn't be. The general...
Going to the emergency room, we deal with it on our own.
Well,
exactly. And this is how it's spreading.
The biggest thing is if you have symptoms. Yeah, if you have symptoms and you do want to go to the emergency room, you're supposed to call ahead so they can make sure that you're in safely. But you can stay at home if you have symptoms. But if it becomes shortness of breath or anything severe, please do go to the ER because that they can't control the virus per se, but they can help with the symptoms, and especially if it's something like shortness of breath. But please do call beforehand so they can make sure that you're isolated so you don't spread it to anybody else.
Yeah. And honestly, what the hospital they're doing at this point. Oh, sorry.
Okay, and I was just going to add a little tidbit of trying to check yourself. There's no real physical detection you can do on your own that would tell you if you have the virus or not. But
there's an exercise you can do to make sure that you're not falling ill. And that would, what I read, would be when you, after you wake up, not immediately, but soon after you wake up, take a deep, deep breath for, I think it was 10 seconds, hold your breath, and if you don't feel pain and you don't feel like you're going to collapse on the floor, you're good. That's some little thing we can do, and that's been overlooked, and I don't know why anyone hasn't really reported on that. Test your lungs, and because we don't really have the symptoms immediately, so test your lungs.
Yeah, and I
I'm
looked
not
into
sure how well it works.
so the hospital, I've had like a couple mouth surgeries in the last couple weeks, and so I've actually been at the hospital multiple times. What they're kind of doing now is they are triaging in a different way. The biggest sign is if you have a fever. However, it's important that you know a fever in this case has to be at least 101 or higher. If it is lower than that, it does not make the threshold of this virus. It just doesn't. And also, too, they are taking temperatures as you come in the hospital. And it's different at each hospital, but the two that I had to go to, one of them, as you walk in, you tell the person it's a doctor or a PA, someone is right there, and they ask you, have you been exposed directly? What are you doing at this hospital? And you have to answer, and then they, guide you where to go. So they are definitely on top of, trying to figure out how to, exactly, and checking their facts and making sure that they can still operate as I don't want to say as a business, as a medical facility to keep all of their patients and staff in check and as safe as possible. And as far as calling ahead, they can't do that anymore because of the volumes they were getting. At this point, they are asking, unless you are in immediate danger and you can't breathe, like you said, to not come in because there's nothing they can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's where it's being...
Ventilators. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they really are asking you to stay at home, and it can be very hard. Don't get me wrong, any virus is going to be hard on your body, but it's very basic things to make sure you're okay. You have to stay hydrated. You have to still take care of your body just more as you normally would. But staying hydrated is so positive.
Hydration so much. They've recommended it. Just flush your system, because also as a precaution, like, people are wearing masks, which actually don't help you if you're walking out on the street, and it can actually trap if there's the virus of the germ in the air. It can get trapped in the mask and somehow infect you more than if you didn't have a mask on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But just be careful, and I forgot exactly where I was going with this.
Well, if you cough or sneeze, cough in your elbow, sneeze in your elbow.
Like a flu or a cold, take the same precautions, but this is much more deadly. So people at risk need to be much more aware and at a high alert.
Yeah.
And also, for us who aren't in this situation, we just need to protect our fellow older loved.
Yep.
Yeah. And they are saying, too, as far as this being, deadly or anything, they are slowly trying to release a different, I want to say like a press release, because this virus actually
not different than other viruses. It's just a different strain that they haven't encountered before. So there are some unknown pieces to it. But that's where the panic is coming from, and that's where we have to draw the line. We can't keep saying this virus is deadly, this virus is deadly. It's not. In a general sense, it's not. No, and it's the same exact thing as the flu that goes around every single year. It is exactly the same. This one just got picked up by the media. The flus that we've had for years, they are as big of a problem as this one is, and this one is not a greater threat than those have been either. Anyone that has it, you have to have a compromised immune system or upper respiratory problems, that and being elderly.
It does have a higher mortality rate, but yes, it is the same. You would prevent it the same way. In general, if you look at the figures of the amount of people that die in a season from the cold or the flu versus this are pretty comparable.
Yeah. It's just, this, unfortunately, it just caught wind in the media, and it went downhill from there.
Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
that's the thing too that I think is also a fine line, because people want to remain up to date on what is going on, but the media also has it's supposed to have at least in my mind, it's supposed to have a duty to the citizen to keep everyone's nerve, to keep people from panicking. So the big issue I have with a lot of the reporting recently is that it seems to be that a lot of the media is neglecting to mention the amount of people that have recovered from this. The only thing you really hear about are, they say, number of cases worldwide, or number of infected has gone up, and mortality.
Number of deaths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
the outlet sparks panic because on TV it's all about ratings. If you look at any articles online, it's a different story. They give you the statistics, they give you the round the world statistics of different places.
yeah,
Definitely people should be informed. They should look at China. That is very important. Look at China. Yes, they have monarch where people are made to stay inside their homes in a different way than quarantine mandatory things by our government can do. But we can get an idea of how it spreads and the numbers of which it would spread. China is occupant of 1-point-something billion people, and a very, very small fraction of that was affected by this virus, and a very, very, very small fraction of that has a percentage of the people who have fallen and failed to this. But we look at that, and it's definitely something to be stressed about, but not everyone died. For sure, not everyone died. There was a very small amount of people who died, but those percentages.
I think the last time I checked the mortality percentage worldwide, it was 0.000016, something like that. Like, it was comparatively to everything else, the percentage blew my mind.
yeah.
And they're not talking percentages, and that's kind of what I said earlier. Real quick, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
The percentages are going to be important, like, buying your food and adding a 25% extra. Looking at the mortality rate, look at the percentage, don't look at the exact numbers, because that's
the number can't represent because we don't have enough tests.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can't even, it's just not, it's just,
a lot more cases. We're trying to minimize the amount of cases because that percentage, that representation of numbers behind that percentage of deaths will go down with the cases. So if we suppress everything everything will be a smaller amount. And that's, I think, I know the reason behind social distancing and all of these shutdowns. We want to separate so that we don't have a million cases, and 1% of that would mean a huge amount of people versus 100 people, and 1% of that would mean one person.
Yeah, and that's why. Oh, go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, personally, I don't trust any of the numbers simply because there's not enough people being tested, there's not enough tests, and governments, especially overseas, have been hiding the exact number of dead because they don't want their percentages to be elevated. So I don't trust any of the numbers when it comes to that. I think it's a lot higher, especially the mortality rate. I think it's a lot higher because I remember a couple of days ago the CDC was saying that instead of the mortality rate being, I think it was 1 or 2%, they were saying it's actually, according to the numbers, when they were being hidden, it was actually 3 to 5% of the population, which is still millions of people. So I don't trust.
And I think a big thing to take away from that too, though. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Again, with the percentages, it's going to be, if you look at other flus from prior years, they're going to be the same thing. It's going to be the 3 to whatever 5%. They're just isolating this one for now. And it's one of those things, like, not all the numbers are exact, but at the end of the day, like, say yes, it is a 3 to 5% mortality rate. That's equal or less to other flus that have gone on prior years. And that's kind of what I think needs.
Sorry.
That's also what.
I was going to say this also at the moment. What we have a lot of confirmed cases, and then we're seeing the deaths, but we don't have enough tests to see what the actual number of confirmed cases are. Don't be surprised when we see 20, 30, 100,000 people who have this, and then you see the death toll, and then you get a perspective of what the actual percentage of people who actually are fatally affected by this are. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and I think
out of the people who are tested, we haven't tested anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't say that.
Exactly. Yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah, and
unfortunately, guys, I do have to step out. I have to finish getting my husband's work stuff ready, so I do have to step out at this time. But I do obviously want to make this over. He has 2 different jobs. He works for Amazon from home right now. Always from home.
That's very interesting. What is that?
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So, like, if you were to call Amazon and report a problem, if the first person couldn't fix that problem, they transfer you to the next up. If that person can't help you, they transfer you to the next up. If that third person cannot help you, they would get transferred to my husband. He fixes those more complicated cases. It's basically like a manager position that you would have, in a in-person store. And he deals mostly with calls.
Right now.
Sorry, what?
He's working around the clock right now because this is the craziness that's happening that we need to worry about other than the virus.
So even his normal shifts, they're 12-hour shifts. If his regular shift has always been this. He works 3 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he said it honestly hasn't been too awful yet, to be honest. He said it's mostly people, like, wanting to know where their package is at, why it's delayed. And,
is he shipping internationally, or is he just for that specific area?
Oh, no, so he's not in charge of necessarily shipping or anything.
he just works from home. It's like
Corporate stuff.
it's like support. It would be like IT support kind of a thing. So he talks to people from the U.S. and Canada only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he say
And then he
an overwhelming time?
He said not more than usual, actually. And he's been saying it's actually pretty quiet during certain hours. And like, it just kind of depends day to day. Sometimes it's every single call back to back to back. And some days he'll have like an hour or two where he doesn't have any calls. Amazon is doing a thing right now. I don't know if you guys have seen it in the media. Because of the virus.
And I freaked out. Because it was like me if you try to get something, like toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in charge of that. He's basically in charge of people calling in, and he's trying to fix it with, like, canceling their order or trying to answer their questions. And it's pretty crazy because Amazon is doing the same thing that Whole Foods is doing. If you are contracted, if you test positive for the virus, you are able to take as many unpaid days off as you want. And they are allowing 2 weeks of paid time off if you have the virus, and they are also allowing you to donate your paid time off days or hours to other coworkers in or out of your state. So they're basically letting you say you have 2 weeks of paid time off left in your bank. You can donate that time if you know you're not going to need it, or if you feel someone else needs it more than you. So they are.
Houses and
Yeah.
are adapting.
Yeah, they're trying. They're for sure trying. And then he also actually works at university, a university. I'm not going to name which one, just in case. But he's a chemistry professor as well. He has a PhD in chemistry.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and he has a lot of colleagues that are very well connected, which is amazing, and that's where we're getting a lot of the truth from, and straight from the source. We're not trusting the media as much as others do. We are still listening to the media because that is the best way to stay updated. I don't want people to try to, go through the grapevine and gossip about, this person's brother said this.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't want people to try and turn to the gossiping ring.
We're sugar-coated.
Exactly.
Lying. We're not
and
real numbers.
Yeah, and we do, and this sounds I'm not trying to brag by any means. I'm so sorry if it comes across that way. We do have some very reliable sources, straight from the CDC, straight from National Guard, and straight from some government officials, family, friends, and that sort of thing. And we are still... Sorry, what's that?
Tell us everything. Give us all your information.
Slowly but surely, I will, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those things that you think they're hiding a lot from you, and it's actually not the case. They're just trying to they're just trying to take everyone's best interest into heart. And I know there's so many different conspiracy theories that our government doesn't care, this and that, and I don't even know what my beliefs are of our government either. But I do think that
intricacies that go into this, aside from the
there's
virus.
so many moving parts.
Yeah,
there's so many moving parts, and even if we had the best government possible, like the dream government that everyone would love it, there's still going to be hiccups along the way. And you're never going to be able to make 100% of the people happy. That's just not. It's not realistic, unfortunately. But I think everyone is
trying to get their wits about them, and that's the best that they can do is to focus on yourself, but also worry about the people that are right next to you as well. Looking at the grand scheme of things. Yeah, and like just looking at the grand scheme of things instead of focusing on one part of this or that. You know, to me, it's either someone's focused about contracting the virus and passing it to another person who can't fight it, or they are concerned about their peers and how other people are going to react to whatever the government decides to do or not do or anything like that. And so and it's one of those things, it comes down, you just need to be a decent human being. It's so simple, it's like so simple, and that's why it gets overlooked, man. And it's so frustrating, it's so basic, and it is beautiful, but it's so basic. And it's amazing that goes over people's heads, you know? So,
I feel like a little bit of resentment because of that. Like, I feel like people should be cautious, and if you're not, you're a fucking asshole. And
exactly.
If you should go outside or not, it's just like not even an argument to stop.
I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, again, people shouldn't lose sight of the fact that people have recovered from this. In fact, I think the last number that I saw was somewhere around 80,000. I think it was 80,000 people worldwide have recovered from this. So,
and just as like a comparison, real quick.
Yeah.
What was that?
Above 80%, about 83-85% recover. And that's only because we still have people in the ICUs around the globe. But yeah, the majority recovers. There's a small percentage of people who are fatally wounded and pass away from it. But if we keep the numbers of the cases down, we won't have that same death toll. And that's what everyone is trying to do.
Yeah.
And one of these. Sorry, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to emphasize, like, I totally agree with everything that you're saying. I believe in knowing information. I believe in informing yourself and knowing that and having that power within yourself. We won't have that panic. But living in the city is very difficult. There's so many people here, and not everyone watches the news or even listens or even glances. I've met people who don't even know which people are running for presidency, literally. And the fact that this is happening and people don't know, there's a lot of misinformation, but there's also a lot of just people who aren't getting the information. And I don't really know how to deal with that. I'm just trying to protect myself. I'm thinking of the situation as I was thinking about it, and I paired it with the same way I think of driving, especially in New York City. I drive aggressively in the form of I think everyone is incapable. So I'm very capable. I'm behind the wheel, and I look at anyone as if they are going to fuck up at any moment.
Right.
And that, I think, is preferable to this thing. I can only control my own actions, but there's so many people here, it doesn't really matter about my actions. I mean, it matters to me, but
it does matter more than you think, because that's where things like mob mentality come into play. So instead of you thinking about you versus all the other people, try to think of it as you
on a team with everybody who knows as much or more than you do,
Mm-hmm.
educating the people that don't know anything. It's not, and that I think you might find a little bit more comfort in that, because you're not alone by any means, and it's a greater percentage of people that do know what's going on and are at least aware of what's going on versus someone that doesn't know anything. And you guys are on a team together, and you will win because there are more of you than people who don't know.
Yeah.
I would like
love
to.
this podcast or whatever we're doing because I get to talk to you guys, but I don't really come into contact with a lot of people that I can A, talk to, but also B, convince or like spread my awareness. It all is up to the one person, which is so difficult to see. It is. It's very frustrating, and unfortunately, like, through years of, I don't know how I've done it. If I try to converse with someone and they don't know what's going on in the world in a general sense,
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to walk away. Because I used to be one of those, like, I call them sheeple. Please don't take offense to that. That they just kind of go along with whatever is whatever, and they just keep going along, minding their business.
And the other thing is,
normally I wouldn't give a shit, but in a situation like this, I do care that people are ignorant.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you do not live alone, if you live in a house with 2 or more people, and you share, things like you share spaces, like the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Wash your damn hands. Wash your damn hands. Do not say
properly.
Do not say, "Oh yeah, this is nothing." It's fine. I don't need to wash my hands, because you're putting someone else at risk, and that's fucking selfish.
Correct.
So you need to.
And you sit when you talk. Everything they do, you do.
Yeah.
Stay within a 6-meter perimeter. Be cool.
Yeah. So and don't complain. Don't complain. It's not a big deal. You like washing your hands. Washing your hands should not be a big deal to begin with. So you take 20 seconds.
And hand sanitizer does not replace washing your hands.
Yeah.
Agreed. Hand sanitizer does not replace that.
Yeah. So
I would
soap
like
and water.
to add, going about with the misinformation thing, I saw something that I would like to bring awareness to. A post on Facebook was going around saying that if people had this cough and the symptoms in November or December, it was the COVID-19. No, it's not. It didn't start in China until December, and the first case was not here in the United States until January. So what you had in November and December was either the flu or a regular cold or allergies. It was not COVID-19.
Yeah.
So I just throw that out there.
We're still in the flu season, so you can definitely have the flu right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I honestly don't tell my neighbors. Well, that's another thing too. I feel weird, just like sneezing or blowing my nose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have allergies, and I just.
Well, that's me. It's like I've had a chronic cough for I live in Alabama, and it's been raining nonstop, and I'm allergic to mold and mildew, and with all this rain that we've been having the past week, mildew and mold is growing. So it's like I have a cough now, and it's like I don't have a fever. Wash my hands. I haven't been exposed. If you haven't been exposed to anybody who has tested positive, or been in the state or a country and around people who have tested positive, you have cold or allergies or the regular seasonal flu, and one of the biggest symptoms that you could tell the difference between COVID-19, allergies, a cold, and the regular flu is shortness of breath, because shortness of breath is specific to COVID-19. So
Yeah.
See, we were told that actually it's not. COVID-19 will be, and again, please take this with a grain of salt. I don't want to come across as a know-it-all by any means. I am not a medical professional at all, in no way, shape, or form. Yeah. They've had me refer to it as a regular cold. It just has a name, and it's famous. And yes, shortness of breath is specific to the virus, yes. But dangerous short of breath is specific to those who already have a precondition involving that. And I think if
the flu season, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to be sick with other things.
exactly,
Yeah, and
exactly, and it's
Worrying
Yeah.
for the respirators in the hospital rooms, like, we're not going to have enough space to treat those normal flus that we are used to, which are also
well, and for years they've been. For years, it's been a thing that if you have a flu, it's a viral infection, and there's nothing you can do except stay hydrated, try to work it out of your body.
please
For
don't take
years.
antibiotics for a viral infection.
No,
Antibiotics
please do
do
not.
not work for viruses.
No.
They only work for bacteria.
yeah, and the best way to deal with that is, again, to bolster your immune system. However you can, just bolster your immune system. And the other thing is too, with regards to shortness of breath, my understanding is that the shortness of breath part is classified as if you try and take a breath and it hurts to breathe in. If it hurts to breathe in, if you start getting pains in your chest, that is a indication that you have it. But otherwise, if you have like a mild, shortness of breath,
You're gonna have mucus in your lungs.
Yeah.
To be very blunt, there's mucus in your lungs. It's gross. It's nasty. It's hard to breathe. You're gonna cough it up. It's gonna be gross.
I thought
That's
you were
what a
saying
virus
it was
is.
a dry cough, not a wet cough. That's what I was.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, with a regular flu. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
should
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. No. Yeah. Corona it's a dry cough, and yeah.
and if you have a sniffling, if you have the sniffles, that is not the virus.
No,
as far as
mucus in your nose is not a thing.
yeah,
People who have the virus do not have sneezy, snotty fits.
Yeah.
No.
But we also need to understand that the flu is rampant at this time of the year, and also is this situation happening. We can't just discriminate against people who are just coughing or generally sick.
Yes,
Yeah.
don't discriminate against me because I have allergies.
yeah. And please don't.
I sneezed. I
Yeah.
sneezed 3 times in a row at Walgreens, and I thought I was gonna get murdered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Don't give people death stares because they're coughing or sneezing. Like
I
Yeah.
had tickle in my throat, and I felt weird.
the only thing
Yeah.
the only thing that really irks me is that when someone coughs or sneezes without bothering to cover their fucking mouth.
I
Like-
know.
like-
oh, it's so gross.
Like that should be a no-brainer. That really.
My 4-year-old nephew knows to cover his mouth when he coughs. He's
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Like,
Or like you
But please don't cover your mouth. But please don't cover your mouth with your hands.
yeah,
Please
no.
cough into a tissue or in your elbow.
yeah. And if you
And I will say, sometimes I haven't been, and I haven't been able sometimes, if so this happened earlier, I was carrying stuff, and I couldn't cover my mouth. I was trying desperately to set stuff down, and I, tucked my chin into my shirt as, a latch ditch effort to not sneeze and cough into the air.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before this whole thing erupted in the news media, I've been reading about it in the New York Times for a month, and so I was cautious. And being on the bus, I was on the Crosstown bus, which is very populated. People go across town all the fucking time, so it's always like back to back. We're packed. But on this bus ride, we were all the media was concerned, and it was made apparent that like we should look out for this virus. And this woman had 4 children with her, all under the age of 5. Could not control all of them. So one of her kids like latched on with the mouth onto the pole.
No.
You can't really control everything.
No.
It's something to keep in your mind. People are gonna fuck up. We can't expect that everyone's gonna do their job. We need to look out for ourselves. We need to look out for the ones that we love, and do the best that we can.
Kids will be kids.
Yes, but also don't think that it's a bygones be bygones. Like, don't give up. We can stop ourselves from being next to those children who lick the fucking holes of the subway. We can be away from that.
Yeah, and really, why wouldn't you be practicing basic hygiene to begin with? You know, like that should have been something that everyone was doing from the get-go. You know, like I've heard the arguments that but we have good bacteria and not every bacteria is bad for you. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's bacteria, but even still, like, you're telling me that, you feel comfortable eating off of a surface that someone just sneezed in their hand and put their hand on the thing? Like,
I'm so much more confident drinking off of the surface now than ever before.
Yeah, because, everything's, like, supposed to be sanitized.
That shit is clean.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah.
Well, and I feel like with, like, the morning news, sometimes, I feel like the general population needs to be reminded of the difference between bacterial and viral.
Yeah.
Amen.
Because it's so frustrating. And that's, I again, with Azalea, like, I'm there with you, and you're like, it's frustrating when people don't know what's going on. I'm like, how do you not understand what your body goes through? And I get that not everyone has ever had, like, a serious illness. A lot of people don't have a chronic illness of any kind that would subject them to being a little bit more alert about different medical things. Aaron, I'm sure you've kind of done the same thing. We're kind of used to going to a hospital or a doctor's office, and you are exposed to that kind of general knowledge, I feel like. Regardless of what kind of chronic condition someone might have, you're around nurses and doctors, and I feel like we end up having a better understanding of how some of that stuff works. And I'm not shy about telling people about my illness because it spreads awareness about what your body can or can't do. And just...
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Just, hey, this thing can happen, and no, that's not normal, but a lot of people suffer from it.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that needs to be said, unfortunately, is that just because you feel that you might have a strong immune system does not mean that everyone in the household has the same, immune system that you do. So don't be selfish. Don't be selfish and cough in your out in the open and shit and say, oh, it's no big deal. I mean,
don't be as selfish.
especially when you're when you've got someone that you're trying to protect. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and like honestly, as soon as we walk in the door at our house, we wash our hands immediately. I don't care if we just went out to go to McDonald's or drive-through or whatever. We walk in, we wash our hands, and we go from there.
Yeah.
It's
supposed to be a normal thing.
yes. And I've always been very particular about different stuff. Like, gas pumps I can't. Oh my god, they gross me out so bad. Oh my gosh, that's like, they never get wiped down. Like, the gas nozzle, think about it.
Gross looking.
Yeah, think about the millions.
Definitely.
Yeah, millions.
Definitely.
Like, we
Absolutely.
understand. We don't see germs, so we don't really understand the dirtiness of germs. But yeah,
I swear I can feel them. I swear I can feel the germs off of a gas nozzle.
I mean, I feel the same way, but like I try not to let my mind go carried off with it.
Right? No, not at all.
Like, it's super OCD shit.
Yeah, it makes me squirm enough to, reach for my hand sanitizer and instantly wash my hands at the next opportune moment. So
I would just like to make a PSA real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If you have depression or a mental illness that prevents you from proper hygiene, there is no shame. Everybody with mental illnesses, you are not
It
alone.
has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
There is no shame. It doesn't get talked about enough, and it's such a taboo topic. And me and a couple of my friends have been trying to bring awareness to it to let people know you're not alone. It's not just you.
Mm-hmm.
It's more common than a lot of people think. So don't think you're alone in this. I just wanted to get that PSA out there.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I would have forgot.
Yeah.
And there's
That's
so
so
many
important.
children who are going through that with the school closings, and they can't get, maybe what they get was fresh clothes from teachers, and a lot of displaced people are suffering right now.
Yeah.
Think about that.
So there's absolutely zero judgment, zero shame.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. We are, and and I know we've talked about so much already, but I do want to give a shout out to those people that are going like an extra mile. Every time I log onto Facebook, I see a food truck or a business or even just a family that says, hey, we're going to be serving food to, these kids because they don't have access to it at home maybe, or hey, we're going to be serving this free food or resources here or there. Like, shout out to the small companies that are helping, the large companies that are helping.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are.
I saw where some of the schools, especially, I don't know if it's nationwide or if it's just my area, not really sure, but where the children are being offered, not just, the children on the free lunches programs, but all the children in the school, when the schools are closed, they're actually preparing the meals for the children that went to that school and bringing them to them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they have school bus drivers delivering them. So
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is amazing. And
they're opening banks in New York. That was the whole reason why Deflecto didn't want to shut our school system down, because we have so many kids with
That's
a
the
lot
only
of
meal they got.
relying on the school system to provide them with everyday care.
Yeah.
the school is probably the safe place for them during the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is.
The
Go ahead.
food banks open, and they're also providing a new special situation where they're having gatherings. They're not saying it's school, but they're saying this is a place, a bank where people can put their kids in if they need to be cared after. We're thinking about it, but that was the whole reason why they didn't want to put a hold on New York City, because it would really disrupt everything. Which it is already.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, while we're giving shout outs, is honestly, shout out to the first responders. Shout out to
The
the
nurses and doctors.
yes, yep, and the
retail employees, the
Yep.
restaurant employees.
yep, and also the people that are keeping our supply chain, ongoing. The truckers, the captains on these ships that are bringing over the cargo to the islands here, as well as to ports in the mainland.
Fucking heroes.
Yeah,
Right.
Can
Can I ask
amazing.
real quick too? So in Colorado, I think this is nationwide, but I could be wrong. I believe restaurants, any dine-in restaurants or anything, are closed for dine-in. They are now takeout or drive-through only.
Takeout, drive-through only. Yeah, I think that's nationwide.
Is that nationwide? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, still, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
But just want to tell people.
This isn't a permanent situation. This is just to get us working and functioning within this standstill time. This is not regular. We will come out of this, but
Yeah.
we need the food industry. We need people to still work on the farms, and we shouldn't think of these things as collapsing because they're fully functioning as with our mass of people in our nation.
Mm-hmm.
They are able to provide for us. So
yes.
instead of stocking up, which I'm sure I know a lot of people have already done, we are going to get a continuous bunch of stuff. Even if they get sick, it's a job where they're not in an office building, they're not sitting side by side, they're separated. It's healthy. It's a workforce that will continue, and we don't need to think about it ending. And I think a lot of the panic is really about cutting supplies and
Right.
like all on chaos.
And the irony.
We have to realize we're taking really priority in our protectors, our police. We're making sure that they have every resource available to them and being safe. The structure is there. We just have to stay inside.
Yeah, and the irony.
Everyone.
The irony about people being concerned about the supplies dwindling is that when you're going out and you're hoard buying, you are causing the very thing that you're afraid of happening. So, don't.
I do think the hoarding is going to come to an end because luckily the grocery stores are being smart about this and limiting number of items you can get on specific items.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Amazon and eBay and anyone else where you can sell items, they are cracking down on price gougers. Yeah, they're cracking down on price gougers now. So, if you're trying to make a profit by hoarding things and reselling them at a marked up price, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
So did you guys hear about the guy that was actually here in Knoxville, Tennessee that he bought 750 pallets of Germex?
Mm-hmm.
18,000. Yep. And
Tennessee Tennessee has a law. Tennessee has a law against that. Actually, that you cannot
Alabama does too.
buy. Yeah, so you cannot buy a health product like that and then remark it up for a sale. And so he was forced by the state to donate it. And it was funny because on Twitter, it was donated to a church that was going to distribute it to whoever needed it. The church posted on Twitter, well, I'm going to call him Joe Schmo, is not replying to our calls or our emails. We are just going to show up to his storage unit and take them ourselves. And they did. The police went there, they broke into the storage shed, and they got that out of there.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and
the church is also bringing the church is also bringing some of the supplies back to Kentucky, where he went up to Kentucky. Him and his brother went up to Kentucky to buy out all the, some stores up there. So they're bringing them back up to Kentucky too.
Yeah,
Good.
and
we all agreed and said.
Yeah.
And now he's also being investigated too.
Yeah,
I think they're going to try
over here actually we had a couple on this island that tried to buy up I think it was all that like Lysol wipes or something like that from Costco.
Yeah.
They were hoarding a whole bunch of it, and so when people found out about that, they started a petition, and apparently it went to our Costco, and now they're issuing a lifetime ban on those two people.
Good.
Yeah, because I mean that kind of shit.
But that's a minor blimp in the situation. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people are doing the same thing in a smaller scale, stocking up. We don't need to stock up. We are fine. The government is not going to let you just fucking winder off into the oblivion.
Yeah.
You don't need a policeman. What is that show called? The Doomsday Preppers. You don't need a Doomsday Prepper bunker, right?
Exactly.
You're fine. We're all in this shit together.
And like as much as we hate the hoarders, don't pick fights either. If someone's gonna hoard, you're gonna look like an asshole. Don't pick a fight, guys. Like Sam said, our first responders have so much to deal with already. Don't be petty. Don't be stupid. Just fucking help each other.
And
Be nice.
you guys speaking about people with gloves on, people with gloves on other than medical professionals just piss me the fuck off because the virus does not go into yourself when you touch something.
No.
It can't be contagious by touching something. So calm
Well,
yourself down and wash your hands when you get home and you'll be fine.
Yeah, unless
Certain hospitals,
That's it.
hospitals and doctors and dentists, they're actually having a problem because people are buying and selling out. They're having a problem getting them in stock
And
to
they
the
need it.
offices. And
Yeah.
that is absolutely insane. You know what I mean?
But again, if you do sneeze on your hand or out in the open, those bodily fluids, they especially if you sneeze in your hand and then touch something after, your bodily fluids will stay on that surface for some time, and then someone comes along and puts their hand on it, and then God forbid, fucking hopefully
Just
not,
like
but
a
touches
cold,
their
don't
face.
sneeze in someone's face.
Yeah.
Just
But
like
they are. I
sneezing
think
in
they are
someone's-
saying. I think they did say that the virus can live, like you were saying, Sam, that they can live on surfaces. So just wash your hands. Wash your hands and don't touch your face.
From my understanding is that it's 9 hours to actually 9 days that it can exist on a surface. So that's why they're saying wash your hands.
And don't touch your face.
Yeah.
It's also very hard. You don't realize how much you touch your face until you have to tell yourself not to.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much
out there.
I didn't realize how much I love touching my face until it was like, don't do it.
Thank God I'm not by myself.
that people are telling you to wash your hands only because you're constantly touching your face, and that's the only reason. If you weren't
And like
touching
just
your face, people would be asking you to wash your feet, but no one's asking you to wash your feet. People are asking you to wash your hands. That only the reason that you just touch your face all the time, and our faces are very vulnerable, but also don't.
So a very, very gross fact. Your face at the end of the day is actually more. It's grosser than a fresh cup of urine.
Yeah.
No.
But that is a scientific fact, and I learned that I learned it in 8th grade, and I've held on to it for years. Years I have had this knowledge, and I get to release it into the open finally.
Yeah, there's also microscopic. There's also microscopic not necessarily germs, but they're microscopic, really animals that eat the skin on your face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're little insects. Yeah,
Yeah. And there's also with smartphones and other devices that have touchscreens, those harbor a lot of bacteria.
Yep.
A lot of bacteria. So if at all possible, try and use the speakerphone when you can. Don't hold it directly to your face.
They have antibacterial wipes for your phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't hoard those too, for fuck's sakes.
Don't hoard, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, no.
Keep your hands away from your face, and you won't do that shit.
Yeah, like I'm lucky. I got there's this product called Whoosh.
Something that's contaminated, you can't get it.
Yeah.
You can't get it through touch.
Yeah. So, but
what's this Whoosh stuff?
It's screen cleaning wipes. It's treated with and it's a microbial antimicrobial solution, and you just wipe it on your screen, and it comes with a microfiber cloth too that you can use on it.
Okay.
But
that's cool.
yeah, I do that because I think a lot of us the untold truth is that a lot of us like to take our phones in the bathroom.
That's not untold. It's a fact. Like, hello.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't want to say that, but we all do it. So when you come out of the bathroom, well, then you're very special.
Simply because I don't really spend a lot of time on my phone.
Yeah.
But I spend more of my time on the computer versus my phone.
Right.
I mean, if I didn't have my desktop, I would be on my phone all the time. So that's the only reason why I know.
Yeah.
I have more concentration and time while I'm shitting than anything, so I definitely get the phone thing.
And also,
I want someone in there with me.
also, speaking of the bathroom, when you flush your toilet, please close the lid, because when you flush, the particles go everywhere in your bathroom.
Yep. The shit and
poo particles can travel over 5 feet, you guys.
Yeah.
So please close when you flush. Close the lid.
And I have these little things called Steripods. I'm like sterile. Short for
brush rub.
Yeah, they go over the top of my toothbrush. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
that's always. I've always been a germaphobe, so it really sucks that this is just coming to society.
Yeah. See, I'm a germaphobe about weird stuff. So, to me, as a woman, I have. Yeah, as a stereotypical woman, I have a large purse collection, you could say, and some of them are larger purses, and when you go out to places, you set them on the ground. Not everyone has the hooks. I mean, I bought the little hook things, but sometimes I can't find them, whatever, and so purses get set on the ground, they get set on countertops at Starbucks, like that. Set them. Yeah, so don't come home and put your purse on your countertop where you prepare food or on your kitchen table. Nothing like that. That has stuck in my head for a very long time.
Yeah.
I have.
Sorry.
No, go right ahead. You're
I was just going to say, talking about the whole germaphobe thing, I've had an obsession, it's seriously an obsession with washing my hands ever since I was a child. I would monitor the bathroom in elementary school and tell all the other girls, wash your hands, and if they didn't, I would tell the teacher. All the time, and I have constantly been vigilant about washing my hands, and it's weird. But it gets to the point, which raises a good question. or a good point I would like to add. Because of that obsession with hand sanitizer, by the way, hand sanitizer only works if it's 60% alcohol or above.
Yes.
And so with my obsession with washing my hands or with hand sanitizer, my hands stay itchy and dry. I have been using.
Oh, I got
I
one.
I cannot stand the feel of lotion on my skin. I'm very particular about it because I don't like that greasy feeling. But Vaseline makes a product called Intensive Care Healthy Hands, Stronger Nails. I've been using that, but even that, my hands stay dry and itchy. What can I do?
So there's a couple. I'm sorry, go right ahead. I have a couple options. Yeah.
Petroleum jelly is what most lotions are based off of. It is the entire thing of what Vaseline is. Vaseline is 100% petroleum jelly. And it does the job, but it doesn't sink into the skin, which, like most lotions, they sit on the surface and they feel nice, but they don't really heal you. Like, they don't seep in. You'd want to look at something like, I use Nivea, which I highly suggest. It's amazing, and I actually did stock up on that because I felt the skin rolling off my fingers and palms because of this vigorous washing.
Yeah.
Go and get the Nivea Pure Cream, not the Nivea lotions in the tub that squirt out with a pump bottle. Get the tubs of cream.
Okay.
They're very thick. They're amazing. They've been around for maybe 70, 80 years. They're just amazing.
Awesome.
There's
100%
also.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There's also a product that I use, and my sister's a nurse, and so she is constantly washing and sanitizing her hands at the hospital. It's a product called Gloves in a Bottle. It's a protective layer. It goes on like lotion. I personally cannot feel it because I too get sensitive with like the greasy lotions and stuff.
Yeah, I can't
like the Bath and Body Works ones, it sounds gross, but they make my skin sweat because they sit on the surface and they clog my pores. It's so gross.
I cannot stand that feeling.
Yeah, no, and no. Oh yeah, exactly. They're like all perfume.
Yeah, and I'm allergic to dyes and perfumes, so I have to have some.
Yeah. So it's called Gloves in a Bottle. Yeah, Nivea is always great. I always trust that brand.
I will definitely try those out.
Yeah, Gloves in a Bottle. It goes on. I think you can apply it like 3 times a day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it protects your hands while you go through and wash and hand sanitize all day long. It's what surgeons use when they're going in and out of doing consultations. So,
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. We got to stick in this together, so.
Right?
Yeah.
I have another subject for. I don't know what the answer is, but I have a old dog who is amazing and beautiful. However, he does need occasionally to get groomed, and I scheduled him for tomorrow to get groomed because I was like, give me the fastest possible date, and because I don't know how things are going to unfold. Anyway, however, so he's getting groomed, and I had another friend who wanted to jump in on my date and have her dog groomed as well, but she was afraid eventually because she thought that there would be a lot of cross-contamination within the dogs and the groomers, or just the dogs coming from their homes with their people's germs and just spreading it everywhere.
They were saying...
I feel pretty confident with it, but, like, I'm not 100% sure. That's where I am.
I think the CDC were saying that animals and pets cannot get this, and they I don't know if they can spread it with their fur, with their skin and fur being touched, but them themselves cannot get it.
Right. But if
And I'm going to have to mute myself because my mom's taking a breathing treatment in the background. Hang on.
Oh no, you're fine. I know. I'm making Ethan's lunch with Chad.
it doesn't matter if he's like washed or not. I'm constantly taking my dog outside, and he's exposed to the elements, but so am I.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where the level of concern is really.
I would think that would be relatively low concern.
Yeah. But like,
That's just
we talk about surfaces, and I do touch him more often than most surfaces. So,
and that's gonna relate back to you washing your hands when you come home. Something that you could do would be like,
should I wash after every time I touch him?
No, I don't think that's no. They have what kind of dog is it?
He has fluff. He's a fluffy dog. He's a little fluffy.
Okay, so like long hair though.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times
Picking things up from the environment, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure that they're 100% cooked.
Okay, well,
I mean, honestly, their little immune systems. I mean, the type of they actually have like a really strong bacteria in their mouth that keeps them from getting most sicknesses that they're going to get from the outdoors, and especially as long as you're up to date.
I'm worried
Yeah,
about what
but-
I'm going to get from his fur.
Yeah, so it's same thing. They have a self-cleansing system where they're going to get rid of, like, whether they're grooming themselves. As they're doing that, they are getting rid of the germs that are on the outside of them because their saliva and their bodies can get rid of it. Therefore, I think it's a very, very low risk for it to pass to you.
Oh, that's totally true. And thinking about it, like the constant movement shifts their fur when they're shedding that grossness. So if
And like them.
don't lick yourself around.
well, according
Yeah.
to an article published recently in the New York Post, it says the World Health Organization currently reports there is no evidence that companion animals or pets such as dogs or cats can be infected with the new coronavirus.
I know they can't have the virus internally, but can they carry it on their fur?
I don't think they can.
Have that.
Well, so it says
No,
it says
no.
right here. It says
I don't think so.
domestic
They're not touching things that
domestic dogs and cats themselves do not appear to be carriers. It says at this point we're encouraging people to interact with their animal as normal. Says West Village Veterinary Hospital's Dr. Daniel Smith, adding that as a precaution, pet owners should keep interaction between your pet and other people to a minimum. So
no kisses.
yeah,
No, they can't carry it. They're not carriers, so kisses are even fine.
In their system, they can't carry it, but on their surface, on their fur, that can last on there. So I shouldn't kiss his body because it's covered in fur and it could just pass by.
I mean, you probably shouldn't kiss his body any time. I totally get it though, because I used to all the time.
I always
like there's zero judgment. I swear there's no judgment that you're kissing your dog. It's adorable, and I love animals so much.
He's keeping me sane, but yeah, I was worried about it. And
that's
it
legitimate.
feels right to keep that bit of distance that I can control. I'll do that.
Yeah,
for sure. That's my responsibility.
exactly. And how old are you, dear? Am I okay to ask that? Sorry.
I am 33.
Okay. Okay.
Old.
No. I'm 27.
A bunch of homebodies.
Right.
I'm 29.
I adopted my.
Figuring out what
I'm getting so old, Sam.
Yeah, thanks.
when Sam gets old, I get very fucking old. So I'm not having that happen yet.
I just had a birthday March 1st, but I'm 35. Yay.
Yay!
None of us are old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone's old until we reach like 50 plus. We got a 20-year gap right now. So like use our joints and our ligaments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
20 years
I will say.
for accidents.
Yes, right.
Getting it right. And starting to grow this enjoying it.
Yes.
So,
I do feel quite old.
I did
What?
I did want to say, because we are approaching almost 2.5 hours now.
Yay!
I just want to say that, again, I will be uploading this to YouTube. You can check out my channel there. Is Electric Panda 808.
Donate to your local shelters.
What is that?
Donate to your local shelters.
Yes, do that. Also, yeah, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That'll help me greatly, and it'll just encourage me to keep making more of these. If any of you want to be included on that, like I said before.
Click that notification button as well.
Yes.
You didn't finish your YouTube name, Electric Panda what?
Yeah, Electric Panda 808. So it's all all one word. And by the way, if you guys want to subscribe too, that'll help.
I've already subscribed.
I'm actually not subscribed to you.
And
I'm actually not subscribed to you. I'm a terrible friend. I'm so sorry.
I feel hurt. And how many
God.
years have I known you, Nashay? Come on now.
I know.
Get with
I'm
it.
a terrible person. I just admitted that.
We're realizing and we're fixing our behavior right now. So
Yeah.
this is just all progress.
We are being good
True.
human beings, okay?
Okay, all right. True that.
We are
But-
learning and evolving. Without,
So-
yeah.
So subscribe, slap that notification button, right?
Yes.
And then please share, so we try and get the word out here. And I
if
will
you want to have
be.
a conversation with us, I would love, all of us would love to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, if you got.
Some questions, guys. Like, if you want some specific answers to something, whether it's a worry or you're just curious, whatever the
Yeah.
case is, like,
We're not
questions,
the best.
Q&As are amazing.
And any topics you want to talk about, just to, if you want to get your mind off of things, you can do that too. I will also be trying to live stream these things on Facebook, and maybe even YouTube. Like I said, if I can get that figured out. And I am also uploading this on SoundCloud. So my SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/The Unity Podcast. All one word, all lowercase. So that's, again,
And
that's...
everything else is Electric Panda.
My YouTube is Electric Panda 808. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. So, you can check out my podcast there. And again, just want to tell you folks, be calm. Just just wash your hands, please. Just wash your hands. And keep your immune system up. You can exercise at home, do push-ups, anything that'll get your blood circulating is really good. Just bolster your immune system, and we'll ride this out together.
And listen to us.
We got this, guys.
Yep.
We got this. Like, we will survive, and we're not just gonna survive. We're gonna thrive after this.
Yep.
And I think it's gonna bring a lot of us together and realize that we need each other to improve this whole planet.
Yep.
So I think this is a rude awakening, but it's all gonna work out just fine.
Yep. And
Absolutely. And we need to also realize that we're not in this alone. We are all going through the same difficult situations. We are all worried. We are all having loved ones that are in a situation that is high risk. And we do not want that to happen. So we can only do what we can do. And we need to stop connecting in a physical way and just do it like we're doing on this lovely podcast. And whatever, we can also video Skype, and we have this amazing technology where we can have that social connection without the physical connection that creates this horrible thing from spreading.
Yep.
So please
Distance makes
use
the heart
your
grow
brain.
fonder.
I would also like to add that since we are all going through this together, and it's not a competition. This is not a competition of who has it worse. Just because somebody worked 8 hours a day and you work 7, you're allowed to be tired and everything, just like the person who worked 8 hours. We're not in competition with anybody else. We're all going through this individually. No discrimination, exactly.
Yep.
No discrimination. This is worldwide, and it's across oceans, across countries. We are all human. We all deserve our basic human rights, and we all deserve to thrive and be happy.
Yeah.
And please stop referring to COVID-19 as the Chinese virus.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
racist. That is beyond racist.
Do not attack Asians. Okay.
Exactly.
That's stupid. We should be beyond that. It's fucking 2020. Come on. It's not the fucking 1800s anymore.
There's no
Move.
time and place for xenophobia and racism.
No. And
No, it's not even a matter of dumbness. It's just ignorance. You don't know anything, so stop talking. Really, you're just driving everyone into a fucking pit hole because people think that you might know something, but you actually don't. So stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Listen to the right people. Look at articles in the New York Times. Look at CNN. Look at trustworthy sources. Know your shit.
Yep.
Know your shit for real.
Yep.
Yep.
That's all
Exactly.
we can do. Know what we have against us, and that's how we can prepare, and that's how we allow ourselves to not dive into panic. If we can be aware of the situation, if we can understand the circumstances, and prepare for what we need to do to make this situation better, do it. There's no excuse for not being smart right now. We have all the technologies at our hands, literally.
Yes.
Do it.
We have the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be, yeah.
So, just practice good hygiene like you should have been doing in the first place. And
Also, adopt a pet because this is the perfect fucking time.
yes,
It is. And also,
money.
while you're stocking up on food for don't stock up. As you're shopping for food for yourself, don't forget to grab one for your fur babies as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And please stop surrendering
Stop
your
hoarding.
pets. And stop surrendering your pets at the shelter. They're not going to get this. It's a human illness. As far as I know, pets cannot get it. So
Yeah.
please
No, we went over that. Actually, they cannot carry it.
So please stop
And
surrendering
people
them.
will be euthanizing more pets than ever now. So if you want to adopt a little kid / dog or cat or anything, this is the time to do it. People don't have
It will
patience.
bring you happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they will bring you all the pleasures that life can give you in a
Yes.
little moment, and this is the moment when you're stuck inside to really give that love and receive that love as well. You can't do wrong, really.
Yep.
No.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
so...
I'm gonna go adopt all of the dogs now, so...
Like, I want a dog right now. What am I doing? I'm so excited right now.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna stop my the live stream on my Facebook now. So if any of you
Alright, I
that
love you guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
Love
it
you
was
too.
nice. I love this. I already love you guys so much. I love all
This is
y'all.
gonna be
Thanks
amazing.
for bringing this together.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Praise to you.
no
Helps
problem.
so much to talk to people. I mean, I know that I'm aware of what's happening, but it means so much to talk to just generally people. To speak my ideas out loud helps me work through it.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's very important to be reassured during this time. So
And
That's
to build
why-
a sense of community.
yeah, yep,
Sure.
and that's the aim of this project. Now the funny thing is that we had before this, me and Eliza had planned this sort of business venture that we were trying to do with the aims of helping people around the world get their projects up and running. So we were gonna start this website that would sort of act as an intermediary between, people who were trying to get their projects going and potential investors. And
But it was always a conversation. I feel like this is
yeah, that was
what we wanted.
sort of right. It sort of evolved into. I think this is its
Weird.
form. Yeah. So now I'm gonna be looking at trying to set up a Patreon account, so that I'm on my YouTube. That'll help me. And any other time, I would feel like it was oddly self-serving to say this, but like since a lot of us are working at home now, we do require some income. So
Yeah.
I am going to set up a Patreon. If anyone would like to donate whatever they can, would help me out greatly, and it'll help me continue making content like this, and support my family. And I would just appreciate it. So if that's something you want to help me with, I'm all for that. I'll let you guys know in the coming days if I figure out how to do
we'll
that.
get that up and running.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can figure it out for sure.
But
Yeah.
thanks
Like,
for
absolutely.
thanks for checking out the live stream. For those of you who did tune in, and I'll be uploading this today, so it should be up tomorrow. And yeah, just like, comment, subscribe, share, slap that notification
And
button.
for people who scroll to the end of the conversation, go back because we actually talk about things that matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of went way
Go
over.
back.
Yeah.
We're the audio version of all those BuzzFeed lists of like top ideas for the virus outbreaks. Yeah, we went through like 20 of them. We have all the good suggestions, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Just prime content right now.
Yeah, exactly.
This is podcast.
We panicked for you so you don't have to. Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Just remember.
Thanks, guys.
Love you. Be safe.
Yeah, be
Yes,
safe.
Everyone be safe.
Look out for one
Be
another.
happy, y'all.
Look out for one
Bye.
another. We love you. Adios.
Always.